Joining us in the interview loft this morning is one of the hottest comedians working right now. It's Gabriel Iglesias. He's had several cable specials, and he's currently on the cast of ABC TV's Cristela TV show. But he's recently gone into that upper echelon of where stand-up comics go. He has released a full-length feature film featuring his stand-up called The Fluffy Movie, which moved over to DVD this week. Thanks for joining us in the interview loft this morning, Gabriel.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here. How does it feel right now? Because you've got to be one of the hottest comedians out there right now.
You know, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I liked it when I was more like the underground guy, like man, this is the guy you got to hear about. That's the guy you got to go see. And now it's like, okay, the light's on. Now what? And I'm like, okay, here we go. It's one of those things where I'm just hoping that I can live up to all the other specials that I've done, and to be given this opportunity is, it's one of those. I hope I don't mess it up.
Your new film is based on your stand-up tour, so that puts you in the same company of folks like Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, and Richard Pryor, people who I've read are your idols. How do you get this organized where you go, okay, we're going to shoot a movie of us doing stand-up, but it's got to be done right?
Absolutely, because as comics, we think that the top of the mountain is, it doesn't get any better than an HBO special or a Comedy Central special or having a sitcom. The idea of doing an actual concert film, it's not even on the radar, man. It's like, you don't even strive for it because it just seems so unattainable. And so the fact that they approached me for this project, I couldn't say yes fast enough. They're like, look, we like your social media numbers, YouTube numbers. I thought it's very calculated. And they said, well, we see you bringing your own fan base to this. And they believe in it wholeheartedly. I was like, are you sure? I actually tried to talk them out of it. I'm like, you do know that I'm a cable guy, right? I'm on cable, and they're like, well, we think you can do this on a bigger level. So, I mean, my hat's off to the film companies that are believing in me, and obviously to all my fans that think that this is going to work.
We're talking to Gabriel Iglesias. His movie, The Fluffy Movie, is out on DVD now. How's it different when you perform a club show versus an HBO Comedy Central show, or the next step up, which is a movie like this? How do you prepare differently for your show? Is there a different energy?
No, it's definitely a different energy. I mean, at a comedy club, it's a lot more intimate, so you got to be quicker. You got to be a lot quicker, and you bounce around, more with the material. And then when you're in a theater, you got to move around a little bit more. You got to pause a little bit more because the sound carries. And then when you're in an arena, oh man, everything has to be just over the top, and you really, really got to pace yourself, because if you don't, you will actually step on your own voice, which is crazy. You always hear those announcements of baseball games, like, starting. And, at left field, it's one of those where the voice will carry like that. So you got to actually speak a little slower for it.
What do you do in your downtime? What is the real Gabriel Iglesias like to do?
What's crazy is that I basically don't have any downtime. I mean, I'm on the road 46 weeks out of the year. I tell people, I says, look, because I get the questions all the time, what does it take to be a comedian in your position? I said, you know what it takes? It takes basically giving up a lot. I have a very nice house that I don't get to sleep in. I have a lot of cool cars that I don't get to drive. I got a family that I rarely get to see, and a bunch of dogs that forget me every 3 months.
Well, hopefully the family's cool with it, and the dogs don't leave you something to remember them by on the carpet.
It's weird when you go home and the dogs are friendlier to the mailman than you, and then you start to wonder.
Cool. But you brought this up earlier, and I wish you'd address the fact about how social media has kind of changed what it is you do.
It's taken it over, and it's basically the reason why I could have this type of career. If not for social media, man, I mean, overseas, they don't have Comedy Central. They don't have HBO. Anytime I'm performing somewhere, for example, like Australia, they're excited. They're like, man, we saw you on YouTube. It's all YouTube. We all our friends pass us videos through Facebook, and so it's all connected through social media. No one ever drops the Comedy Central thing. Nobody ever says, oh, I saw you on Fallon over in Norway. It's all about YouTube and social media. I mean, so because of that, I'm able to have that career outside of the U.S. Obviously, in the U.S., it's Comedy Central, and anytime I make an appearance on something like Fallon or whatever the case. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was all about let's make flyers. Let's make some flyers and maybe pass out some cassettes and get the word out about me telling these jokes. Next thing you know, flyers are gone, and even with radio nowadays, because it's like more and more radio stations are switching over to that Jack FM style of not having any DJs on the air. So it's like you got to start taking yourself to the people, and the best way to do that is through social media. I call it grassroots marketing.
You seem to have a good chemistry on Jimmy Fallon's show. What's the vibe like on that show? I mean, how's he doing so well with that?
You know what? I did the Tonight Show with Leno. I did it with Conan, and now with him. And he's younger. He brings a whole different type of audience to the show, and he's very nice. I got to give him that. He's super nice. Everybody comes backstage. Everyone says hi to the artist, but like the fact that he hung out and he was just like, "Hey man," he's a little fidgety, like he feels like a man. Any second now they're gonna take this away from me, So he's still got that new kid, like, "Oh man, oh this is great," and then da-da-da, and da-da-da. And so I really appreciated that, because he's really excited about his position, and he's not taking it for granted. So kudos to him.
Gabriel Iglesias, a pleasure talking to you. The Fluffy movie is out on DVD right now. And we want to thank you for being with us today, and best of luck with everything, Gabriel.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.